Coming up on NCC News at 4:45, food insecurity is a big issue in the local community. Our Zach Kopelman dove into how food pantries are trying to help.
Hurricane Helene ravaged through southern states over the weekend. More updates on the current conditions and relief efforts coming up.
And it's a big day for the New York Mets. New York has to win one of 2 games in Atlanta to clinch a playoff spot. We'll have the latest updates on the games and sports. Your 4:45 news starts right now.
Good afternoon and welcome to NCC News at 4:45. I'm Sophia Leone.
And I'm Zach Howell. We have a lot to get to today, so let's get right to our top story. Deputy Mayor of Syracuse, Sharon Owens, is expected to announce her candidacy for mayor this evening. Owens has been a part of current Mayor Ben Walsh's office since 2018. The Syracuse mayor position is up for election in 2025 due to city term limits. Jimmy Oliver, the director of community engagement at the Syracuse Police Department, is the only other person to submit paperwork for their candidacy up to this point. Owens' campaign announcement tonight is scheduled at the corner of East Fayette and Almond Street at 5:30. Staying in local politics, the first New York 22 district debate is taking place tomorrow night in coordination with the Newhouse School. Syracuse.com is moderating the debate between Republican incumbent Brandon Williams and Democrat John Mannion in coordination with the Newhouse School. However, the debate will look a little different. There will be no audience in the room. Producer of the debate, Meg Craig, explained that it has to do with Syracuse University.
No audience because Syracuse University is a nonprofit. There are some rules around political activities and what we are and aren't allowed to do. The Chancellor's office just requests that we not have audiences for debates so that we don't run into any issues.
Since there is no audience, people can email Syracuse.com reporter Mark Weiner at mweiner@syracuse.com to make sure to include your name and address.
Meanwhile, in New York City, Mayor Eric Adams' attorneys urged a judge this morning to dismiss the bribery brought against him last week. The attorneys accused zealous prosecutors leveling a charge that doesn't rise to the level of a federal crime. This stems from the federal indictment against Adams for allegedly accepting foreign campaign donations and bribes. Adams remains adamant that he is innocent and will not step down as mayor while facing this prosecution. The New York Council on Hunger and Food Policy met today for the second time this year to give updates and recommendations to lawmakers on multiple food-related issues. Reporter Zach Kopelman has more on local groups working to address those same issues.
Guys, when the council met this morning, food insecurity statewide was a major topic. Here in central New York, food banks have been making a major effort to build a balanced and healthy diet for their customers. Participants in this afternoon's Council on Hunger and Food Policy meeting said focusing on assuring good quality foods for food insecure people should be priority across the state. With some elementary and middle schoolers taking advantage of free food programs, for instance, the council feels that they should appreciate and understand where their diet and nutrition is coming from. On the local side, organizations like the Northeast Community Center Food Bank are focused on finding healthy options for new Americans and people without transportation.
A lot of our new American non-English speaking clients will come through us for either tea time or help with insurance, or like they'll work with somebody. Like we have a gentleman, Abdul Basit, who speaks Arabic.
The Syracuse Food Alliance says over 45,000 people face food insecurity issues in the Syracuse and Onondaga areas, and access to nutritious options have been a heavy focus for local organizations. The Northeast Community Center's Christy Schaff says emphasizing healthier, non-perishable items were key in their recent ordering.
Past few years, we've had more healthy options with our canned items. So there's a lot of canned items that are low sodium now, whereas when I first started about 6 years ago, there weren't. And we've been able to give out collard greens, eggplants, some culturally sensitive items such as sour leaf, daikon radish. We've gotten apples, potatoes, from donation. So that's really been where a lot of our great produce is coming from.
While distributing canned goods is important for food banks because of how long they keep, distributing fresh produce is part of a healthy, balanced diet. Allison Murray, who runs the food bank behind me in Hendricks Chapel, says for the students that she serves, it's important for her work to balance nutrition and availability.
There are a lot of preservatives in the canned food options. So even though we have several canned food options, those that are donated and those that we purchase from the pantry, we try to offset that with, once again, the fresh produce. So then that way there's the best of both worlds.
Both Hendricks and the Northeast Community Center said they're always looking for donations and volunteers. Zach Kopelman, NCC News.
Today, the Syracuse University Next Gen service is hosting a blood drive for the Red Cross. The event started this afternoon and will go on until later this evening. To get more students willing to donate, Next Gen is giving out $15 gift cards and t-shirts. Tomorrow, the blood drive will continue to be held at the Lally Athletic Center.
The Syracuse Police Department is hosting a Citizens Academy for those planning on taking the police agility test. These training classes also speak to educate people on the tactics used in an effort to provide a better understanding of police authority. Classes will start October 1st. This weekend, the Syracuse Inner Harbor Fest concluded, and while I was there, I got a chance to watch a dragon boat race.
We are the team called Hope in the Boat.
This is the chant that echoed throughout the dragon boat race at Syracuse's Inner Harbor Fest, where teams paddled in sync to raise money for local nonprofits, celebrating teamwork and community spirit in friendly competition.
I think it's really special for them to realize that all these people, all the paddlers are here supporting them.
Robert is the owner of 22 Dragons USA, a dragon race production service that helps communities around the country host races while partnering with different nonprofits. While all the boats here are competing for victory, only one boat in particular stood out, not because of their speed, but because of the spirit of hope that they carry, showing that when you're paddling for a brighter tomorrow, every stroke counts. One nonprofit sponsoring the event was the Baldwin Fund for Breast Cancer Research, and a team competing in the race was none other than a group of breast cancer survivors. Their name, Hope in the Boat.
Dragon boating is a way that breast cancer survivors can get very good exercise that we know is good for recovering and keeping from getting cancer again.
After her diagnosis, Shell not only joined a local dragon race team, but became head coach. She says that this group of women transformed her life.
Absolutely, yeah. They're my dragon boat family, without a doubt.
At every event they compete in, Hope in the Boat honors their lost ones by carrying their names. Shell says there's also a special ceremony that always takes place.
Yeah, flower ceremony, which is always a part of the Dragon Boat Festival because dragon boating is so closely interrelated with breast cancer survivorship. And it's very meaningful to us.
Hope in the Boat's journey doesn't end here. They're set to participate in the International Dragon Boat Race for breast cancer survivors in France in 2026.
And it is an amazing feeling to just know that everybody there has gone through whatever their own version of dealing with breast cancer is.
Until then, Hope in the Boat and others like them will keep fighting every day. And of course, keep chanting, reminding us all of their strength and resilience. This is Sophia Leone,
NCC News.
Now, for more information on their team, you can visit their website at hopeintheboat.org.
A heads up for all commuters taking I-481 this week. The New York State Department of Transportation says that the highway will be reduced to one lane between exit 2 through exit 7 in the town of Clay. Closures will begin Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The closures are related to a bridge inspection happening in the area.
Syracuse Mayor Ben Walsh is hosting a Vision Zero meeting together to gather feedback on the development of a draft action plan on traffic safety. Walsh is sticking to his commitment of being a Vision Zero city. The goal of the Vision Zero program is to achieve zero fatalities and serious injuries from traffic crashes. Neil Burke, City of Syracuse Director of Special Projects, explained the initiatives the Vision Zero program attacks.
There are a number of interventions that can take place, engineering, education, and enforcement to change behaviors on our roadways. And that's not just for motorists, it's for pedestrians and cyclists and transit users. The thought here is that we can all get along and coexist.
Some initiatives already in place are the sidewalk snow removal program and enforcement in school zones. While those championships took place indoors, we've had an up and down week weather-wise. Time for our first check on weather. Chloe, what's it like outside?
Yeah, guys, what a beautiful day here in central New York. It was a little bit cloudy earlier in the morning, a little bit more humidity, but now it's a lot chillier out and a lot more cool, which is exactly what you want here coming in fall. It's 75 degrees right now. Feels a little bit more like 68. Our humidity has since dropped, 6-mile-per-hour winds, but overall, very beautiful night, especially for the last day of September. I'll have more on our 5-day forecast, guys, after this. Back to you guys in the studio.
Coming up next on NCC News at 4:45.
Hurricane Helene has ravaged the southeastern part of the United States. We have an update on the conditions up next.
Plus, Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke this morning on what the U.S. is doing to help find a peaceful solution. Hear from this coming up. Today, Secretary of State Antony Blinken gave a speech on conflict in the Middle East. Blinken says that the U.S. will continue to work on a diplomatic resolution to the tensions between Israel and Lebanon, and they remain committed to urgently driving these efforts forward.
The United States will continue to work with our partners in the region and around the world to advance a diplomatic resolution that provides real security to Israel, to Lebanon, and allows citizens on both sides of the border to return to their homes.
The United States also remains committed to driving a ceasefire deal in Gaza as well.
Hurricane Helene has taken a devastating toll across the southern United States, more specifically, the state of North Carolina. There have been over 47 confirmed deaths in the state, with that number likely to rise in the coming days. President Biden stated earlier today that he will visit the communities affected in North Carolina when the time is appropriate. One North Carolina resident talks about how devastated the hurricane has been on his community.
It's a total mess. People have been swept away. Business have been ruined. Lives have been lost. It's absolutely insane, to be honest. Myself and all my friends are whitewater kayakers, and we've never seen water like this before in our lives. It's absolutely demolishing.
Hurricane sits at 115 that spans across 6 different states.
Ryan Ruth, the man who attempted to assassinate former President Donald Trump, is in court today for his arraignment. Ruth is also facing other federal charges, including the possession of firearms and assaulting an officer. Ruth will be held in custody throughout the duration of the trial.
Earlier this morning, the FBI agreed to pay more than $22 million to settle a class action lawsuit alleging sexual harassment in the training process. 34 women were part of the lawsuit, all of which were dismissed from the FBI's training. The settlement comes less than 6 months after the Justice Department announced a $138.7 million settlement over the gross mishandling of the Larry Nassar case, sexual allegations. A dangerous chemical fire near Atlanta is forcing about 90,000 people to shelter in place. About 17,000 in Conveyors, Georgia, evacuated Sunday because of a fire at an industrial plant. Early Monday, authorities reported harmful levels of chlorine in the air around the facilities. BioLab, the company that owns the plant, says that all employees are accounted for and no injuries were reported. Coming up on NCC News, October temperatures are approaching in the 315. Chloe Smars details the first full week of fall. We'll have your full weather forecast after the break.
Welcome back to NCC News at 4:45. I'm Chloe Smars with today's weather. And what a beautiful day we are having here in the 315. 75 degrees, cloudy, but the sun has been peeking through all day. It was a little more humid in the morning, but that has kind of faded as the day has gone on. It feels like 68 degrees right now, humidity about 67, and the wind about 6 miles per hour. But a beautiful last day of September here in the 315. Let's take a look at how this day ranks to years past. A little more warmer than average. As average, you see here, 67 degrees, 72 the high for today. But the record back in 1953, 89 degrees in the last day of September compared to the low. It's still a little bit warmer, 58 today our low. The average, 48 degrees. But if you go back to 1991, it was 28 degrees. That was the low for this time of year. Let's take a look at our local radar right now. No rain in our region in upstate New York. You see this rain down here coming from western Pennsylvania. We won't be seeing any of that. The scattered showers that you're seeing in the Binghamton region, we'll kind of see the effects of those towards the later part of the week, but very dry east and west and north of Syracuse right now. Let's take a look at the temperatures that we're seeing in our region. Still around the 70s overall, 75 degrees here in Syracuse, north in Watertown, 77 degrees, out west in Buffalo, 73, and out east here in Glens Falls, 72 degrees. That 67 degrees that you're seeing in Binghamton, it's a little cooler because of the rain, but overall, around the 70s in 315, a really good temperature, really cool temperature. It was exactly what you want to see for this time of the year. Let's take a look at tomorrow. It's going to be cloudy all day, no sun really peeking through, 63 the temperature in the morning. It's going to get a little bit warmer to 73, 64 in the evening. But that rain will peek through in the nighttime, a 25% chance of rain, 60 degrees at night. You will definitely see scattered showers. Taking a look now at our 5-day forecast, this is what you want for the end of the weekend. Sunny Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 75 degrees on Friday, 65 degrees on Saturday, and 47 degrees on Sunday. That's exactly what you want. A little bit of rain on Wednesday. Well, the sun will peek through on Thursday. But that's it for weather, guys. Back to you at the desk.
Coming up next on NCC News.
In sports, Tyler Aiken has the latest on a critical doubleheader for the Mets. Did New York win the game one? Find out after the break.
I'm confident, but I'm nervous because at the same time, I don't want to face Milwaukee, so I kind of want to win both, but that might be pretty hard.
I'm sweating it. I'm not going to lie. I have class during the day, and instead of going to class, or I'm going to go to class, but I'm going to have the game on. I'm a huge Mets fan, born and raised in New York City. So definitely a little scared, but hopefully the bats work like they did last night.
If they get swept today, that would be probably the most Mets thing ever.
Just a day away from October, and we're just a day away from the MLB playoffs. But there's still wild card spots on the table. Welcome into NCC Sports. I'm Tyler Aiken. The comeback kids win again as the Mets just earned a playoff spot. New York took down Atlanta 8-7 in Game 1 of their doubleheader. The Mets earned their 41st comeback win of the season. That ranks third in the majors. Shortstop Francisco Lindor hit a go-ahead home run in the top of the 9th to give New York the victory. The Mets are now set to face off against either the Brewers or the Padres in the wild card series beginning tomorrow. Who they face will be decided by the result of Game 2. On the Braves side, they must win Game 2 in order to play some October baseball. Relief pitcher Grant Holmes will take the mound for Atlanta, while New York is pitching southpaw Joey Lucchesi. First pitch just went underway at Truist Park. Back in town, Syracuse football is preparing for its first road trip of the season, and it's a doozy, a cross-country flight to Las Vegas, Nevada for a clash with undefeated UNLV. Head coach Fran Brown says that even though the setting is different, his team's preparation isn't.
It's the same. We just locked in. Everything moves a day forward. You know, we get to travel. We get the opportunity to go on the road. You know, we play home for 4 weeks straight. Like most people don't have the chance to do that. So we got a chance to play home, and now we get to go on the road. You know, we get to go represent Syracuse, you know, and on a Friday night in Las Vegas, you know. So it's pretty cool to be able to go there.
It's the first ever matchup between these two teams, and it's the Orange's first trip to the Pacific time zone in over a decade. The Rebels are 4-0, and that includes last week's 59-14 win over Mountain West foe Fresno State. UNLV averages over 280 rushing yards per game, a top 10 mark in the country. Syracuse likely hopes that what happens in the backfield stays in the backfield, or else it could get ugly for the Cuse. And that'll do it for NCC Sports. I'm Tyler Aiken.
Coming up next on NCC News at 4:45.
Mark Zuckerberg entered another elite group. Find out what that is after the break. Mark Zuckerberg just became a member of one of the most exclusive clubs on the planet. The Meta CEO now has a reported net worth of over $200 billion. Zuckerberg joins Tesla CEO Elon Musk and Amazon's founder Jeff Bezos as the only people to be part of that club. Zuckerberg topped the market for seeing a $72 billion increase in his wealth this year. The billionaires stack up like this: Zuckerberg sitting at $200 billion, Bezos at $216, and Musk at $265. That's all the time we have for today on NCC News at 4:45. For today's stories and more, visit our website at nccnewsonline.com or follow us on social media at NCC News Online. I'm Zachary Howell.
And I'm Sophia Leone. Have a good evening, Central New York.